study,
and play come together on a Windows 11 PC.
And for a limited time, college students get
The best of both worlds.
Get the Unreal College Deal. Everything you need to study and play with select Windows 11 PCs. Eligible students get a year of Microsoft 365 Premium and a year of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with a custom color Xbox wireless controller. Learn more at windows.com/student offer. While supplies last. Ends June 30th. Terms at aka.ms/collegepc.
British Spy Stories. Next week, a special double episode finale to Season 6. The week after that, we start Season 7, Rogue Assassin, on British Spy Stories. Season 6, Counter Strike. Episode 30. Alexei Orlov walks over to Gabby's body on the floor and pushes her with his boot. But she doesn't wake. He can see a red stain of blood on her black t-shirt. The pain in his head is sudden. The force pushes him to one side, and he loses his balance, grazing the palms of his hands as he hits the floor. Then he feels a boot in his stomach, and he grunts at the pain again. He looks up at his attacker and Agent Talgarth is there.
You fooled me in London, Alexei. I believe what you said when you asked to come to the West. Why all the pretense?
I was playing both sides, Ivy. It's the only way to survive, if everyone is untrustworthy.
I respected your experience when you first spoke to me, she says. Now you're both a traitor to your own country and not trusted by your enemy. You lose twice.
He makes a sudden movement to try and stand, but she swings her foot back and kicks him in the face. The impact knocks him out, and Orlov slumps backwards onto the dusty floor. She throws away the lump of wood that she had used as her initial weapon and runs to Gabby. Despite all the advice about not moving injured people in battle, there's no choice but to get Gabby out of here. Orlov will wake soon, and they must be gone by then. Talgarth pulls one of Gabby's arms over her shoulder and lifts her up. They messily descend the staircase to the fire exit. Then Talgarth half drags her boss back through the trees and across the road to the blue larder. She searches Gabby's pockets for the key and turns it in the ignition. The engine doesn't start the first or second times that she tries. She raises her eyes to the heavens when it starts on the third attempt. They get back to the safe house, and Talgarth again half drags Gabby across the ground and into one of the bedrooms inside. She pulls up her t-shirt to inspect the wound. The amount of blood makes it difficult to assess how serious the damage is. There's a medical box in the kitchen, and Talgarth takes antiseptic to clean the injury. She can see that the blood has congealed along the line where the bullet skimmed Gabby's flesh. The cut is deep, but there's no bullet inside her body. Talgarth knows that this size of gaping wound needs to be stitched back together, and she has to do that now, while Gabby is still unconscious. There's a sterilized needle and thread in the med kit, and she pulls on blue gloves, then laces the black thread into the eye of the curved needle. There's a moment just before the point of the steel pushes into the skin, when Talgarth flicks her eyes up to Gabby's face. But her eyes are still closed, and her breathing is steady. She makes 6 neat passes of the thread through either side of the skin, and pulls the gap together. Talgarth ties it off and cleans the wound again, then takes bandage from the medical kit and wraps it around Gabby's stomach for as many times as she can before the crepe ends. Then she sticks it down to close the dressing. Talgarth leaves her to rest. 2 hours later, she makes the judgment that she needs to wake her boss to assess if her medical skills have at least made Gabby comfortable. She rocks her shoulder, and she can see Gabby's face muscles moving before she wakes up.
When you left to do the reconnaissance, says Talgarth, I was concerned about lack of backup, so I followed you, using the tag on Vesna.
Gabby swallows and clears her throat, but her voice is hoarse.
I'm glad you did. I'll get you water and food.
When she returns, Gabby tries to sit up, but winces as pain stabs into the skin of her damaged stomach.
I can do it on my own, ma'am, using the RN-27B.
Gabby shakes her head and looks dead serious. Find painkillers, Ivy. We fight on until the end, no matter what happens. That's an order.
Yes, ma'am.
Adrik could feel his mind relax slightly when Alexei Orlov walked into the new warehouse. They had not communicated for the 2 days since the train journey, in case MI6 are listening in to their mobile signals as part of the surveillance. Orlov was impressed by Adrik's choice of new premises and had immediately gone off to explore the place. But that was an hour ago, and now the man appears in the doorway to the office with a bloody nose and bruising across his face. MI6 found us again, Adrik. How? Doesn't matter, because I've arranged security for us. They'll be here soon. You don't have to worry this time. Adrik smiles. What's going to happen afterwards, Alexei? When the parts are being cloned, you and I will hold all the cards, he says. We'll have the parts for the next generation battle tanks on both sides of the East-West divide. That's when the fun starts. He smiles at the idea of it. I've rented storage space by the Black Sea. We'll get the trucks back here. But this time, they'll be taking the cloned parts southwards. When everything is safely in storage, I'll contact MI6 and Russian intelligence and simply ask for their bids. Vesna frowns, and Alexei continues. The highest bidder wins both tanks, so they secure their own secrets, while simultaneously undermining their enemy for years. Simple and balanced. Strike or counter-strike? Adrik's face has become more concerned over the last minute. What about us and my parents? We'll all go to the Black Sea storage while the bidding proceeds. I'll send someone to collect your mother and father and bring them to us, says Alexei. What we do after the auction finishes will depend on who wins, of course. If the West win, we'll go there, as planned. But if Russia wins, we'll have to disappear for a while, with our families. But we'll have the money and get new lives and new faces. Alexei's phone starts to ring in his pocket. When he sees that it's Inessa calling, he excuses himself and walks out to the front of the long run of Concertina Bay doors. He looks at the evening sky above his head as he answers her call. In the hospital of San Bartolomeo Pronto Soccorso, Inessa is watching her son through the glass and holds the phone to her ear. How's Maxime? Says her husband. They operated on him and put him into an induced coma to help his body repair, she says. They've given us a family room in the hospital, so I just watch him all day. What about Liddy? You know her, she's tough. She's just getting on with it. She's like you, Inessa. She smiles, but he can't tell down the line. How long before we're back together? Not long now, a week maybe. You need to be ready to move when I tell you. You know the plan. Get a boat across the Black Sea to Georgia. I'll be there. Yes. Her voice is quiet, suddenly. Will it work, Alexei? Have I ever let you down? She wants to say that, yes, he has. Let her down many times over the years. But she remains silent. Will Liddy be able to study back in Moscow? I don't know the answer to that yet. When you decided that you wanted to stop being a spy,
Was it only your needs you considered?
He wishes he could see her eyes now. We'll talk in Georgia. We'll have plenty of time to decide what we do. She sighs, but not so that he can hear. Be ready, he says. Then he rings off. Over the course of the hours of the early evening, as the teams do their work, Vesna is gradually able to discern the rough outline of each of the sections that will join together to create the massive Gorgon machine. The control unit team are the quickest, and they complete the console that holds the switches, screens and dials needed to activate both the initial scanning process and the clone fabrication stages of the machine. They push their finished unit to the centre of the floor and screw on thick cable looms to ports arrayed along the back of it. These will carry the power and operational commands to the 5 other parts. The team carefully lay the cables along the concrete as they wait to connect everything together. After another hour, the oldest man in the group of whitecoats knocks on the door to the office. "It's done. We're ready," he says. Vesna turns his head to Orlov and they both smile, but with some trepidation. "The X-rays, please, Alexei." The man picks up the 2 metal cases from the Florence bank and hands them to the whitecoat. "Go ahead," says Vesna to the man, who walks out to the scanning stage of the machine. He flips open the first case and places an X-ray on the glass plate. He drops the lid and raises his hand to another man at the control panel, who presses a red button in front of him. The light from the scanner cuts across the dusk and is thrown up onto the warehouse walls as the process begins. "How long before the first component is fabricated?" says Alexei, watching from the office doorway. 20 minutes, says Vesna. "Then they'll come thick and fast. The bigger components will take a little longer, but we'll start with the smaller ones and work upwards. There are 2 atomic-level 3D printers that run in parallel to reduce the time. So we'll have the cloned parts for the entire Challenger 4 by dawn?" "Yes, approximately. My estimate is 10 hours, says Vesna. "We'll run all night. Then we can start on the T-99. Gabby has been sleeping for most of the time since Talgarth bandaged her stomach. She is woken in the bedroom of the safe house by the sound of another truck outside on the road. Gabby rolls off the bed to avoid pulling her wound apart and takes more painkillers before she goes outside. This second part of the expected deliveries contains the armed drones for Talgarth to control in the attack. The same security procedure is followed and Gabby provides the code to allow the driver to hand over the goods. When he gets a green light on his handheld device to indicate that the code has been accepted, he winches another short container onto the ground beside the first one, then waves to Gabby as he gets into his cab and drives back out to Ulica Krupskoy. She walks into the control container, where Talgarth has been practicing maneuvers on the built-in simulator. "Your drones are here. Let's talk about tactics," she says. "What do you know about the design of the Gorgon machine?" Talgarth pulls up a set of blueprints on a large screen in the centre of the display. 6 parts. A control centre, a scanning unit, a converter that creates the print commands, a hopper unit for the steel ball bearings that are used to fabricate, and then 2 atomic printers. "And where are the vulnerabilities?" says Gabby. "The hopper unit runs at a very high temperature, and you need water cooling around it, or the whole thing seizes up." "So we attack that first?" says Gabby. "I think so. There's also limited redundancy in the whole design, which makes it easy to get at. There are 2 printers, but the other sections are all unique and they work one after the other in a single series. So if we destroy one part, then the process can't continue." "Let's see how far they've got," says Gabby. Can you launch a drone camera and send it off to have a look? Talgarth manipulates the switches on the arms of the chair and grasps hold of one of the two joysticks. There's a camera on the outside of the drone container, and Talgarth flicks it on to show the top of the unit sliding back and a drone lifting into the air. She moves the joystick and the tiny machine flies off into the evening light. She changes the view, and the screen now displays the camera feed from the drone itself as it flies over the streets of Nijutajil. After 2 minutes, the picture shows the Gorgon warehouse in the distance and getting nearer. Go in by that fire exit we used, and we should be able to see the shop floor, says Gabby. Talgarth moves her hands and fingers, and the screen shows the drone dropping down to near ground level, then flying in through the half-open door and up the staircase to the office level. She brings it to a hover by the glass, so they can see the teams working on the Gorgon. Looks like they've finished construction, says Gabby. Talgarth points to the top of the screen. That team there is loading X-ray scans into the first part of the process. Whitecoats are standing in a line, moving X-rays from the 2 briefcases and setting each one carefully down on the glass before dropping the lid, and a green light flashes up from the bed as the scanner records the X-ray details. They're further advanced than I thought, says Gabby. We need to move, Ivy. Are you ready? She looks at Talgarth, who nods. I'll drive out there and be on the ground to recover the X-rays. You destroy the Gorgon. Talgarth narrows her eyes slightly, as the other woman looks serious. Ivy, this is our only option. If it comes down to a choice between destroying the machine or saving my life, the machine takes priority. Do you understand? Yes, Mum. Gabby walks out before there's any opportunity for more discussion. She goes back to the safe house bedroom, throws on a black camouflage jacket, and stuffs her dark hair up into a black beanie. She pushes her handgun into the back of her belt and collects 2 SA-80 automatic weapons from the gun store in the safe house. As she walks out to the larder, Talgarth opens the door to the container. Mum, you need to see this. She beckons Gabby inside and they step in. The drone camera has picked up activity on the road outside the warehouse. The women look at the screens as 3 covered army trucks are turning into the warehouse compound. The backs of the vehicles flip down, and a soldier appears from each, then another, and another, until there are 30 fighters lined up on the concrete in front of the bay doors, all holding automatic weapons and wearing red berets. Orlov told me he'd ordered security, says Gabby. This must be them. She peers more closely at the screen. And those are Spetsnaz, Russian Special Forces. She turns to Talgarth. With this lot defending the warehouse, our fight just got a whole lot bigger.